Okay, guys, I'm listening to some podcasts, and I just had a thought that, frankly, it can't wait. So I got this set up, and we're hands-free. Tension's where it needs to be, but just listen. So recently, there was a trial of some sort about a case where somebody got severely injured at his first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. And this happened a few years ago. I don't know all the details. I've been listening to all the details, and I'm not like retaining like every single detail. I am not a reporter or anything like that, so please go ahead and look up what you want to look up. But the Cliff Notes version of this essentially is he was there. There, a black belt, which is a very skilled person, was rolling with him. And the video looks like he spiked him on purpose. That isn't what happened. Anyone who knows anything about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or has practiced it at all knows that he's probably going for a kind of a rolling back take, which is a little flippy-dippy. But generally speaking, that should be a pretty safe thing. But something went awry in regards to posture or the way the person had their arm, or, and he fumbled and landed on him. And the poor guy became a quadriplegic. I do believe that he, after numerous surgeries, has regained some function of the ability to walk, and is making a recovery. I just don't know how much is expected to be recovered. Now, what's up for, debate in my mind is not whether or not this guy should get the money that I think I got like 56 million or something like that. And hey, look, this dude's life was effectively ruined. So, that's bad. But there's one thing that is the thing. Rener Gracie, who I usually like a lot of what he says, kind of philosophically speaking, said some pretty weird stuff at the trial, and he was paid to testify. So here's one thing that I think is a weird thing. I know that a person ought to be compensated for their time, especially if they have large enterprises. Their time is worth a lot. So he charged something like $300 an hour for his time, got a few $100 and something $1,000. But the fact that money gets involved in regards to your testimony at all does kind of sound like it could be swayed, that you could be bought. So that's a thing. And I know that he donated $100,000 of it to some sort of institute for neck and spinal injury. But we all know how that is, where there's a possibility of certain kinds of kickbacks when you make that big of a donation. And it wasn't like it was all the money. So I don't know. I don't know that still isn't largely in his favor. I understand he did that. It makes it look like, all right, I wasn't doing it for me, and maybe he wasn't doing it for him, but, it still feels like it was in his favor. And then why'd you make the deal anyways if you couldn't just be like, look, here, I just want such and such part of the settlement to go to the thing. Why would you bother doing it at all, right, if it wasn't going to get to be in your favor to some degree? That's the thing. Now, even without that, though, what he said was that he believed, long story short, he believed that the owner of the school didn't have a proper industry standard. Okay, there really isn't one. So industry standard of certain techniques that could be used against white belts. White belts are all beginner people, only training with beginning people. That just irks me. I don't like that, and I'll explain why. he said that he believed that he offered up his school as the industry standard, or what should be the industry standard, or what have you. His model is largely about mail order jiu-jitsu instruction, and when you think about that, what is that? He has the Gracie garage and tells people how to set up mats in their garage, and then he sends them techniques and says, here, get with your buddies and train and practice this. And that keeps him out of his school, so he can't get any, if they get injured, they got injured in their own house. Like, they can't come after him. Just saying. They can't really come after him because they got injured in their own home, not at his school, right? Then that has people with zero experience in the martial art getting into a room together, training in this martial art with zero supervision from any advanced rank whatsoever. Do you see the problem, guys? That's largely what his business model is. And then the other parts of it, he has white belts going against white belts, etc. And the problem with that is white belts are always, anyone who does this, they know that white belts are always the most dangerous to roll with. Two white belts get together. You can find memes all over on the internet. Two white belts get together and it's like a spaz match, right? They don't have control over their movements. They don't have control over their techniques and everything like that. So that's bad. And that's the problem with Rener Gracie's testimony, in my humble opinion, as a humble blue belt. But I am also a businessman, a business owner. And me being both martial artist and business owner, I believe that it behooves me to have a commentary on this. And it is that if I were to be consulting, if anyone cared what this guy had to say on the subject, if I were consulting, I guess that given the sue-happy nature of our culture, and they would see something like this, that I would suggest that maybe coming up with a basic plan to mitigate injury for the most injury-ridden portion of the sport, which is white belts. I think that it would be somewhere along the lines of having a select list, essentially, of people that have the temperament to be rolling with the newbie. So it's not even just skill level. It could be the temperament too. And that they be instructed to mostly play defense, and that if there is any offensive playing, it is played with kid gloves, and only sometimes the offense stuff is part of your effort to control the other person. So you can't say defense only solely. You have to have a little bit of offense so that way you can control the other person, because chances are what they're going to do is they're going to hurt themselves. But only you do certain back takes and certain submissions, certain things that are not flippy dippy. Super simple and controlled things, and then let them tap you out before you ever hurt them. And I would make that public. That's about it. That is about it. I think that actually would have completely sufficed to prevent this injury, is if simply he wasn't trying his signature move, which I get it, but obviously something went wrong, and you only would have certain types of people with certain levels of experience. That's the way it is. But the thing of it is, what people don't realize, that's the way it is in most jiu-jitsu gyms. This is already the rule in most places. So Rener Gracie out there shaking it up and everything because of this case, the guy deserved every dime. Okay? I feel so bad for that guy. It is tragic. Okay? But Rener Gracie is frankly kind of wrong. Like, that is not how the martial arts works. And it boggles my mind that he's been able to be so successful with that kind of a business model. And if everybody starts doing that, where they have white belt classes and then blue belt classes, like we're just going to have a lot of white belt injuries. We're going to have a lot more injuries. So yeah. Hey, my 2 cents, if anybody even cares, right?